Hey guys, welcome back to Wandering Soul. Thank you so very much for the fantastic response that you guys gave me for the promo of Dodging Death in Spiti. And as I had promised, here is the final video and I'm sure you will love it. And don't forget to give me a thumbs up. It was 16th June 2012 that we started our journey. We were three families, Desas, Kurups and us, and we were in two Scorpios on our way to Lahaul Spiti. Our trip itinerary was to reach Narkanda on day 1, then move on to Sangla and then move north towards Nako. Then via Tabo reach Kaza and then head for the last leg of our journey towards Manali. And that's how we wanted to do the horseshoe circuit. We reached Sangla on day 2 little after lunch. We were booked at
Negi's camp.
And I remember his beautiful little daughter and how he used to take care of his daughter.
Day 3 was a trip to Chitkul. It is one of the most beautiful villages in Himachal bordering Tibet.
So when we went to Chitkul, that riverside we were sitting, I had a bottle of vodka carried with me. So that I put it in the water there. The water was chilled. So after some time, then I called Girja, look, we found a bloody bottle of vodka here.
So I said, oh yes, there's a bottle there. My God, somebody has kept that bottle there and gone. And I just picked it up.
And Girja was so excited. Chris, what is this? Very good.
And I went around telling everyone, somebody left a bottle of vodka in the water. Just imagine we found a bottle. Rajesh ne bola ki, yaar Buddhu, Chris ne jaake pehle usko pani mein dubak ke rakha.
Day 4 was time for some local scouting. We crossed the wooden bridge and went to the other side of Baspa. And we explored the village of Sangla. The best part of that exploration was that wooden temple that was there. Most of the deities and references of all religions were there. It also had resemblance with the Khajuraho temples, the only difference being Khajuraho being made of stone and this was made of wood. Day 5 was time to pack and move towards north. Back in 2012, the Karcham Dam area and the entire stretch all the way till Nako was still under construction. A lot of road widening work was going on. And therefore, there were a lot of off-road patches and landslides and everything that was happening. Shortly after lunch that we had at Spillo, we were stopped by the Gramphoo people.
So there's this face of the cliff where a landslide had happened, which included large boulders, which came, hit the road. A few boulders stayed there. A lot of it went further down into a fast-flowing stream. I think the second or the third landslide part happened while we were there, right? So we could see these giant things, almost the size of our cars, right? I mean, roll down the hill, hit the road, bounce and go into the river, right? And then the splash and all that kind of stuff. Som grabs my camera, gets in there and says, ये बढ़िया सीन है, इसको शूट करना बनता है करके राजेश कैमरा निकाल ठीक फाइन.
Som was doing as usual, goes right to the edge and starts
taking pictures
and so huge activity going on there. And because of the blast, there was a lot of vibration and bulldozer also was creating vibration.
One of the things that the GREF told us, hear out for a whistle blast, right? If a whistle hits, it means there's stone rolling, run. I hear this sharp whistle out.
So this guy was taking pictures so close and he didn't notice that all of a sudden a huge boulder fell from the...
It just rolled down
rolled down. Thanks to Rajesh, I'm telling you, hats off to his
Instinct,
instinct. Yeah, that
I don't know what occurred. The first thing that hit me was like, so. Then it grabbed his collar and yanked him back by a few feet, and
and the boulder fell right across him and went down.
where Som would have been, there is a the size of 3 football, a piece of rock lying there. Som is about 10 feet behind where he was, like a fraction of a second ago.
Then Rajesh came and he said, this is what happened. So almost got crushed because he didn't realize a massive stone fell or almost fell onto him. It was very shocking. And then we saw him coming. Now also, if you think back, it is very disturbing.
And frankly, that also kind of describes the trip in a way, right? I mean, how we had each other's back at all points in time.
When we left that blasting area, Rajesh's car was in the front.
We went quite ahead, and all of a sudden we realized that Christopher's car was nowhere to be seen. So we thought of waiting up.
In the middle of nowhere, it was about 12 kilometers before I started smelling burnt smell in front of the car, and all of a sudden the car stopped, and I opened the bonnet. There was smoke coming out. In a desolate place, I mean, there was no road. It's a kacha road, and nobody and no signal. How to catch these people? So then saw one car, local village car passing from there.
We told many people that आगे देखो, there's a green Scorpio.
एक बंदे ने बोला था जाके.
Yeah.
Suddenly, a white bolero came up to us and said, "साहब, आपका जो दूसरा गाड़ी है ना, उस पे आग लग गया है." I kind of panicked and immediately rushed back to where Christopher was.
There, our preparation came handy. Like we had,
It started
I taken this thing 5-ton tow band also. So then the vehicle was towed.
And we had two choices in front of us. Either we go down 12 kilometers to Spillo, or we actually go up 12 kilometers all the way to Poo. We decided to go for the latter, as we were told that we could possibly find some mechanic in Poo, and also the fact that there were some accommodations available. So for the next 12 kilometers, with 8 people in Rajesh's car and all the luggage also been transferred to Rajesh's car, I was towing Christopher's Scorpio. Through Nadi, Nala and everything else, I pulled the vehicle. Towing the Scorpio uphill was quite a challenge, but I think even more challenging task was with Christopher, because he had to maneuver his Scorpio and there were no power brakes or power steering.
And the road was really total kacha and winding.
And it was becoming dark.
So we somehow managed to park the car there, I mean our Scorpio there, and we had to wait.
Next morning, Christopher and I had to drive down about 80 odd kilometers all the way back to Rekongpyo to get the alternator fixed. We did manage to find a mechanic who opened up the alternator, and all of us were zapped to see what happened next. When the mechanic opened up the alternator, literally ashes came out of it. Barring the center rod, everything else had burnt out. At the shop, we were asked to go all the way down to Rampur, which was another 70-80 kilometers, to pick up a brand new alternator, as there was a Mahindra dealership. Alternatively, he said if we could find this electrical wizard who is there in Peo, and apparently he's a wizard with SUVs and pickups. So if we manage to find that particular guy, then like our problem will be sorted right then and there. But the challenge was to find him, because he's a floating guy and nobody knows where exactly he would be, and he doesn't have a phone either. That day, I understood what's the meaning of God sent. While we were still in conversation, I don't know how it happened, but the guy was all of a sudden standing in front of us, and we were all spellbound. By the end of day 7, we reached Kaza. We were very skeptical and careful while we were driving all the way to Kaza. Our godsend mechanic had told us that he actually did a jugaad with the alternator. He had taken parts from another vehicle, alternator of another vehicle, and put it into Scorpio, and therefore it wouldn't have given out adequate power. It would be sufficient to charge the battery. And he also mentioned that not to run the ACs, the light will not be as bright and the horn will not be as loud. Day 8 at Kaza was all about sightseeing. We went to the beautiful Key Monastery and also visited the second highest village in Asia called Comic. We also visited the highest petrol pump in the world, which is there in Kaza, and there was no power, so we actually had to do things manually over there to fill up the fuel. Day 9, that was the last leg of our journey when we were to leave for Manali. The manager at the hotel had told us that we need to reach Chhota Nala, that's a stream that will come on way to Manali, and we need to reach there early because as the sun goes up, so does the water level, and after a point it becomes difficult to cross over. So 4 o'clock in the morning was the time that was set to leave while it is still dark, and in that darkness I survived for the second time during this trip. So at about 3:30 I started loading the cars. What we had done during this trip was we had put all our luggages on the carrier which was on top of the car, and as we were expecting rain also that day, so I thought of putting the rain cover and tie it down properly and keep it secured. After completing everything, when I stood up, something actually struck at the back of my head. When I turned around, I was really shocked to see the power transmission cables. And then I realized, okay, nothing happened because I'm standing on top of the car and the car is insulated because of the tires and all. And probably that's how things were okay. Later, when I was telling this particular incident to Rajesh and Christopher,
Shom told me he stood up and he touched the wire. I think touched the wire or almost touched the wire, he would have died of electrocution. Actually, it would have happened had there been light. There was a grid failure, there was no electricity. Basically, Providence saved him. If he had not even touched, if he had been about 1 foot within the wire, he would have been electrocuted, because that was carrying, I think, about 1100 volts. It was a main line. That was not his time to die, I think.
While we were getting in the car, and I got to know that Som got miraculously saved. The first reaction was like, what is wrong with this guy? एक के बाद एक, and I was like, okay, किसी तरह दिल्ली पहुंचो इसको लेके. So that should be like, enough of it.
as we approached the Chhota Nala, we could see certain commotion happening over there, and we realized that a Hyundai i10 was stuck right in the middle and it was struggling to come out. Rajesh and I immediately got into action. We hooked the i10 with our tow rope, and we also requested a Yeti guy, a Skoda Yeti guy who was also waiting to cross over, to hook into his car, and since it was a all-wheel vehicle, we asked him to pull the car. He tried his best, but the i10 just did not budge. We saw a Bolero which had a 4x4 come from the other side of the stream. Rajesh and I crossed over and we requested that guy to rescue. The guy was reluctant to do it, but eventually he agreed. And in no time, he dragged the i10 out of the water. We crossed the bridge over the Chandra River and we reached the Lahaul Valley. The landscape changed from brown to green, and it had also started to drizzle. As we were moving forward, a car coming from the opposite side stopped us. When inquired what happened, he said, आगे रास्ता पूरा टूट गया है, आप लोग यहाँ से वापस जाइए. As we reached that particular location, we realized a patch of about 50 meters of the road was completely missing. It was just not that it got washed away, and instead of a road, it was a running stream of muddy water. One of the locals told us, आज तो Sunday है, आज शायद BRO वाले या Graph वाले नहीं आएंगे. We prepared ourselves to spend the night in the middle of nowhere.
So Gramphoo was another nightmare that we went through, and it was going to be a nightmare. But then, like, the ladies as usual got into action, and we looked into the ration that we had, and it was
First you thought
a few packets of biscuits,
and some
2-3
noodles.
kappa noodles, instant noodles. So what to do now?
I think I and Girija went out, and so there were these two guys. We could realize they were locals because they had, the moment they realized that it was they have to stay, they might have to stay over, so they pitched a small tent. Luckily they had a small cylinder and they started boiling eggs, and we were so tempted that we almost wanted to ask them if we could buy those eggs for the kids. Then we requested, and so they reluctantly agreed when we said that okay, this is for the kids and they have to have, and so then they agreed, and then we got some hot water for the kids, and
We got the cup of noodles ready, and the kids just polished it off at one go. And then suddenly we saw some people come up, and we just got rumors that the road is being constructed and we might have a chance to go further.
so I told Rajesh that I will go, and if I see that they are allowing the cars to go, I will flash.
When Shomita gave us the strobing signal, we all jumped into the car and started before others realized that the road was going to be open. So we saw how the if they had put boulders and all to create some sort of a ramp to cross over that channel which was being made, and the water was gushing down from this thing under the boulders. And my car, I was so worried. I didn't know how much stress I could put on the car. But anyway, I just somehow put it on the first gear and pressed the throttle, and we crossed the ramp. That was a huge challenge.
And we could actually hear the water gushing down.
Yeah, it was any time they were worried.
Any second it would.
More rocks might fall down,
and trees will come.
or the ramp might wash down. After overcoming the challenge of the ramp, then the next was negotiating the Rohtang Pass and reaching Manali. It was raining, slush, and the road was so bad. And because my attenuator didn't have the proper power, headlamps were also very low. So Shom was holding the Eagle Tech torch from the window,
and what was the temperature at night?
His hand was almost freezing,
And on either side there is darkness. So one is assuming that on one side is a cliff, on the other side is not the cliff. Right? The cliff and the cliff.
One incident which I think I never shared with you also, all these years, since there was low light and there was beyond road, over the cliff, we couldn't make out sometime. There was one point where I did not see the road turning and I was going straight. For a split second I realized, no, that's over the cliff. And I turned. I never spoke about this to anyone. That's what I'm saying first time. Maybe I don't know whether people will believe or not, but that is a fact.
Manali had never been so good to us, especially after what we all had been through in the last couple of days. Being back to civilization was real bliss. While putting this video together, I realized that I have not yet had an exciting trip as this particular one since 2012. The other day, my son came up to me and said, death has stopped chasing you after all. Do you really think so? I hope you have liked the video, and don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and stay home, stay safe, be careful, and whenever you're riding next, ride safely. Bye.